Welcome to Turmeric and Tequila with your host, Kristen Olson. Questioning a better way, one gracefully disruptive conversation at a time.
Welcome to Turmeric and Tequila. I am Kristen Olson. I am so excited to be here. We are at the first Denver bar dedicated to women's sports. I am with the founders of the 99ers bar, Annie and Miranda. Welcome to Turmeric and Tequila.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Thanks for coming all the way here to do this. We're stoked to have you in the space.
Yes, this is wild. As you know, I'm a Denver native, born and raised. I can't believe this is a thing. I've seen you guys now 5 or 6 times. I think I've said that to you every single time and asked you the exact same questions, not on the mic. Like, how do you know what to do? Is this a thing? What's going on? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, all right, we'll save the rest for the mic. Before we jump in, I do want to give a shout out to our sponsors, and then we are going to go head first into all things women's sports. Lux Neuro, offering neurofeedback and counseling where your heart and mind align. For more information about what neurofeedback can do for you, listen to the neurofeedback stories of transformation in the middle of this podcast. Neurofeedback effectively treats everything from insomnia, anxiety, depression, trauma, ADHD, and much more. Optimize your brain, luxneuro.com. Check them out. So we are here, and today is kind of a wild day. We're doing 3 podcasts at the 99ers. They've been in it. They're building the bar as we speak. And any entrepreneur or human in general knows that it's a journey out there to stay in it and keep doing. We're talking about women's sports, but I do want to give a quick toast to something quite simple. The power of staying in it. Like, no matter what, I literally think most hard things to success come down to just staying in the game, and you guys did it. You got through today, if nothing else.
You're real.
Well, yeah,
there.
That's when we got
Thank you.
Give a sip up to.
You guys did the college tap. Very good.
Always.
So today was kind of a wild day. Mercury's in retrograde, Gatorade. Sure is. Shit's happening.
For one more week.
For one more week.
I checked.
Yeah.
I did check.
It's what I like for entrepreneurs, young people, anyone chasing a hard thing, a marathon, a business, whatever it is, to understand that it's not all glamorous. I mean, like, you guys, athletes, like, there's limelight, there's big stories, there's good things going on. No one has any idea about the work that goes in to make it run, to make the ship sail, to make the dream happen. And you guys have full-time jobs. You can be doing other things. So it's a major kudos. I hope that you guys can sit and put on the, a pat on your own back of, like, we're doing the hard thing here. Like, you don't have to do this. I know it's a passion piece, but it's really fucking hard. And you're in it. And today was one of those days, and now you're on the mic.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like that happens sometimes, though. We have, like, crazy bad days, but also then, like, something cool like this and exciting like this. And so, full circle really fast, but makes it worth it.
There you go.
So
right after the meltdown, come on the camera.
Exactly.
We're gonna record. Let's go.
Wipe the tears.
Lots of
down the
emotions.
sweat. It's all good.
Dude.
Let's chat about it. It's cool.
I mean, what a metaphor for life, though, because it is real. Like, again, I want our people to know the truth. Like, whatever you're doing, there's gonna be those days, and then you fix your face, fix your shirt, get in the mix, and pour a beer and have it.
It's part of being an entrepreneur, like you said. Like, that's ups and downs come with it.
Let's go.
Everybody else just sees the glamorous Instagram posts of the fun stuff. So, but you get it.
You gotta fake it till you make it sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I think that's one of the best things you learn in sports is when you're a kid, you get kicked down 1,000 times, and you're you're young, so you get up again. But as we grow up, air quotes, you're not used to doing hard things as much, or like that adversity and like overcoming it, I don't think is as easy unless you continue to do hard things. So it's really important that you talk about the non-glitter, like the non-glam part of it, and choosing hard things.
Well, and I think that was something that Miranda and I bonded over pretty early on when we first met was that, like, we were not content with where we were in our lives. Like, we wanted to keep building, we wanted to keep doing something for the community, and this just happened to stick. So I love it. We'll get into. But
well, if you know TNT, I always want to talk about the human behind the mission, before the mission, because that's really the magic, the wizard behind the curtain, because none of this happens without your passion, your dedication, your ability to continue to show up. So tell us about your young selves and the 0-year-old version of both of you.
For sure. You go for it. You got it.
I was gonna say young is hers.
No, you got it. If you want me to,
but now
you got it.
Yeah. So I grew up in a lot of different places, I like to say. We moved a lot as a child. I started in northern Idaho. Moscow, Idaho is where I was at from probably, 0 till 8. Then I moved to Post Falls and then to Spokane, Washington, where I settled. And that's where I ended up graduating high school, going to college. Always played sports. I was very active in any sport that I could get my hands on. I played ice hockey as a child. I was a goalie. And I always played with the boys too. I was typically the only girl on most of the teams I played with.
Goalie's gutsy too.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a pretty insane catching hand. I played softball as well, baseball, and then I transitioned to softball once they said I had to. It was the same thing with gymnastics. Once I couldn't practice with the boys anymore, I quit. But I also played basketball. I was the only girl that played flag football as a child as well. And once I got to the age where flag football was phased out and it became tackle, I had to quit because my mother wouldn't sign the paperwork to let me play tackle. She didn't think that it was a good idea in terms of me just going against other boys. So that's kind of where my football career ended. But through high school, I played basketball, tennis, softball, pretty much whatever I could play. And then same thing in college. I played rugby. I played ice hockey as well. And didn't actually play for the school, but I did a lot of club sports and we traveled. So it really should have been like sport. Yeah. So yeah, it really should have. And I graduated with I started with pre-med. Thought that's what I wanted to go into.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now you have a bar. That's what's up.
Yes. And I actually finished with business. Come from a family of entrepreneurs. My grandmother's an entrepreneur. I was immersed and raised in that community of a small business. So I first-handedly watched not only my mother, but then my grandmother, and then my mother started working for my grandma. So I went to conventions in Las Vegas at a very young age. I was going around the booths and getting all the free stuff and stuff. So I've just like been very into that community in terms of from very young age, and just kind of seeing like what it takes to run a business. And one quote my grandma she's followed by that she always says to me is like, you don't run a small business runs you. And I just
Write that down.
I feel that so I know we both do, but I just feel it so hard now. And so when I was, I don't know, after I graduated college, I moved to Kansas City for a little while. And then I moved to Boise, Idaho. And then 2 years ago, I moved to Denver. And when I moved here, one thing for community, I joined a flag football team in Boise, Idaho. It was an 8v8 contact, so full contact. And I played
Boys and girls?
Just girls.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And I played quarterback for the team. I just walked on and started playing quarterback for the team. It was super, super, super great experience. Made me realize how much I love football and how much I needed community. When I moved here, I didn't have that. Like, I didn't have my flag football team or anything like that. And I moved here for my job, so I didn't really know anybody. It was just, I transitioned. I used to work for Schneider Electric as a sales engineer. So I went from inside sales to outside sales, and Denver became my territory. So I started a flag football team here. And now that, Annie and I both work towards a women's league that we run as well. But I think that's a good segue to how Annie and I met, which is flag football, actually.
Wow. Yeah, so, and I'll touch on that too, but so my background, pretty similar to Miranda's when it comes to athletics, not so much the business piece, and I think that's what makes us really good business partners, but I grew up playing anything and everything I could. Team sports for sure were my favorite. I loved the community. The two that I loved the most were basketball and soccer, and so I played those from a very young age for as long as I could. I grew up in Iowa. I'm from central Iowa. So, and stuck around there for college.
Were you guys close together? I'm not super Iowa. Were you close?
Idaho.
Idaho.
Yeah.
Those are different things.
It's okay, right?
I
love that that's on here because that's actually happened.
That happens to us all the time.
Yeah.
Does it?
Yes.
I was, well, and
Let's go, America.
even before I knew, Miranda's the first person I think I know from Idaho. And like, I remember meeting random people from other places. And
I
they're
definitely know
Iowa,
people from other states.
Iowa. Oh, the potatoes. And I'm like, no, that's Idaho.
We're
athletes.
instant state enemies.
Yeah.
Guys that ran asses up.
Yeah, so we're actually
What we're known for.
Right. Yeah. No. So central Iowa. So like, if you take the United States, put your finger in the middle, I feel like that's where I grew up.
Got it. No, I remember the man that was like
Exactly. The chef.
the head,
He's
the
a chef.
face.
Yeah, Iowa is the face of the
Yeah.
chef. I feel like I taught you that.
Yes.
On a map. Yeah, Minnesota's the chef hat. Yeah. I actually
lessons that before.
exactly.
PNW
We can do that.
Central.
Which I was actually born in Minneapolis, I guess, but I was a baby. So, but yeah, I grew up playing anything and everything, and I had the same story with flag football. Was one of the only, I think there were two girls out there playing with all the boys, and then I got to the point where you're playing tackle, that's the only option, and my mom's like, yeah, no way. Like, that's funny. If you want to kick, you can, but other than that, you're not playing. So she's like, that's too dangerous. So I stopped playing that and just focused on basketball and soccer pretty much. A little track here and there, I guess. And then I ended up playing soccer in college. I went to a small private school, Central College in Pella, Iowa. If you've ever heard of Pella Windows and Doors.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yep. That's what people, I feel like that's why people know Pella. But
I gotta get them as a sponsor for this episode.
right? I know, seriously. Yeah. They've got the money for it. So
100%. Let's go, Pella.
come on, Pella. But yeah, so that's, people know where that is because of that. But yeah, loved every minute of it. Would not take that back for a second. And then I joke around and say I studied abroad at Iowa State. I thought I wanted to go to a big university there for a minute, so I went there and then transferred back because I missed playing soccer so much.
Yeah.
And I knew I wanted to, at the time, I thought I wanted to be a teacher and a coach. And so I was like, I knew high school level. I taught high school math for 6 years and coach as well. And I was like, my girls are gonna, and boys, I coached both. They're gonna respect me more if I played in college. So that was also a big part of going back. But also just missing the community and missing my team and missing my girls. So yeah. And then, yes, taught for a while, got out of teaching, got in the corporate world, moved out here to do that and just to get away. And lived in North Carolina for a while, and then ended up here around the same time that Miranda did. And I was like, hey, flag football might be fun to get back into. Joined co-ed, hated it. I had a terrible experience and was like, I think I'm done. I think I'm going to quit. Ended up getting talked into playing one last tournament. And at the tournament, some of Miranda's teammates, she had created this team. It's called Altitude Sickness. And some of the girls I played, shout out Altitude Sickness. Some of the girls who played with Miranda were like, you're good. Like, who do you play for? Like trying to recruit me. And I was like, oh, no, I'm done. And they're like, I think you should meet Miranda before you make this decision. Like, she seems like she has the same values. And so sure enough.
Some grown words.
Yeah.
Not just like you throw well, you hit well. Like, you have values.
You guys have the same mission. You're both,
It was a lot of the same things. They ran over to me and they're like, we found someone.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like, hey, well, what does she play? What does she do? Like, as I'm like trying to like play. I was like, I need to.
We're like on opposite ends of the field, like not playing against each other, and yeah. So anyway, and so then I came out to a few practices, and here we are. Yeah. Now we're running a league together with another woman that we're friends with who runs the league in Powher. But yeah, so we still do flag football, but and then. Here's this as well. So
this is why I love sports so much. I mean, if it's theater or chess or whatever you're passionate about, like something you're passionate about brings you together, and then it stays in the fabric of your life, your entire life, or thus far. And it's such a huge like guardrail, or like I want to say one brick further, like telling you where to go. And you're not listening. You try and get out. You don't teach. You corporate for a minute. Like it's funny how it kind of weaves back to like that young person passion piece. Sure. And then it leads you to like some of the best non-choices of your life.
We say that all the time.
Yeah, it's so wild. And for intentional humans, I would say my varsity humans, it's not about eliteness or anything. It's like we're going to control things. We're going to work harder, train harder, read the right book, do this. And sometimes you just have to like let go and let some shit just happen.
Yeah.
Which gives me anxiety even thinking about.
Right.
But it's like you got to just breathe, because then some of the biggest stuff comes in completely unintentionally.
For sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's where the birth of this came from. Like,
absolutely.
I was so over the corporate world, and, I don't know if you want me to get into this, but I can't. I can go for it. Cool.
Yeah.
So my brother lives in Portland, Oregon. Jenny Wynn opened up the first of this type of bar called the Sports Bra. And, I was like, I have to go see this. But I was like, I'm going to visit my brother. But really, I was going to check out the Sports Bra, and walked in and immediately was like, this is the coolest place of all time. I'm obsessed. I'd love to do this, but I don't know how. I know nothing about business. At the time, I'm like, I'm just a high school math teacher. Like, I can't do this. But and then when I moved here, like it was just crazy because I was in the corporate world, I still am, but like didn't love it and wanted to do something more. Didn't know what that was. Still had this idea, was going to quit football, but then got introduced to Miranda. And I feel like we started talking about like our passions and our backgrounds. And immediately I was like, I think this is my person. So pitched the idea to her.
6 weeks after knowing me from?
Yeah. It was pressure wired.
Yeah. We went a long time without actually like physically meeting each other in person.
I was in the mountains pretty much.
She was. And I'm like hitting her up. I'm like, hey, we have practice today.
And I was like, I will not be there. I'm skiing with my pals in the mountains. We got a mountain. I was like, sorry,
totally
we're hiking
fine.
today. Yeah. So sorry. Like,
totally fine.
Ditched out for months.
Yeah.
Because again, I was like so over flag football. So even though I didn't even met her yet. So like these people had told me about this human. So it wasn't like completely writing it off. But I was like, I'm going to the mountains. Like, and that's what I'm in Colorado for. Yeah.
And it totally makes sense. I mean, no hard feelings still.
Right.
But yeah, at the time I was like, am I going to meet her or not?
Yeah.
It's like we would just go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then she finally came out. And I think like the second practice you came out, which was, I probably knew you for a week and a half, 2 weeks, like talking to one of our teammates. I was like, do you think she'd go to, we were getting ready to go to a Texas tournament. It was the first tournament that we were doing like traveling for as our team. I was like, do you think she'd want to go? Do you think she'd want to go? And one of my friends was like, you should just ask. I was like, hi, so do you want, I know you just met us, but do you want to go to a tournament in Texas with us? And she agreed. So, I mean, that was just like the whole history of like our friendship and flag football and the bar.
Pitched the idea of the bar. I was in the back of a minivan and she was driving the minivan.
That's what I do.
And, loves minivans.
I do like, I mean,
It is up there.
spacious.
Right. And she's like, yeah, sure. Let's do this. And I was like, I don't know if you're being serious or not. She's like, no, I totally am. Let's do it. And then whatever, we played the tournament and we got back. And a few weeks later, I texted her and I was like, so like, are you really serious about this? Or you just messing with me? Cause like, don't screw with me. Cause I've had enough people tell me no, actually. And she's like, no, let's sit down and actually have a conversation about it. We did. And we started writing our business plan in July of last year.
We learned more about each other in 2 hours than you learn over the course of the entire
I think we
relationship.
sat down and we were like, if we're going to do this, we need to like,
Hash it
like,
out.
I felt it was like power first date. Like, let's go.
I want you for these questions. I was going to say, like, give me these questions. We run
Right. Like, you have to know everything there is to know about each other. By knowing each other. Yeah. Exactly.
Like down to music artists. Like, because sometimes little things, like, you read the credit score, but like little stuff that's like,
let me see your bank statements. And
what my God, that's vulnerable.
It was.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And what are your strengths and weaknesses? Like, all this kind of stuff. And I
Conflict resolution, how to share it.
Yeah.
This is actually way better than 99% of most marriages. So like entrepreneurs or anyone looking to get married, write this shit down. This is what needs to happen.
We said, like, I could never do this with my partner. Like, I could never do this with whoever I
No,
marry.
but you got it. Like, you got
I
it.
just got to
Some
be with somebody.
capacity.
Yeah, I've got. But I'm saying, like,
Yeah.
like, no offense, buddy, but I can't marry you. So, like,
Oh, no.
I mean, you already have a bigger contract that's overlighting. Like, marriage is a contract. We won't get into that, but I'm just saying, like, you're pretty freaking committed. Like,
for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
No, there were a lot of intense conversations, but the thing like that I think the both of us like during those conversations, it never felt awkward or invasive. It was more of like, hey, this is what we want to do. How do we get there? This is how we get there. We have to have these conversations. And so I think that's like what propelled us to just making it so much more like transparent and black and white versus, oh, you did that at one point in your life versus just being like, hey, how do we get there? I understand that, this doesn't look as good as that, but like, how do we accomplish that next? And like, what does that look like? So I think that was really important for the two of us. And we filed for an LLC on July 6th and we met in April.
I think
So 3 months after meeting one another, we were in an LLC together looking at, shortly thereafter started looking at spaces.
For sure.
Yes. So
It was wild, but
that's if you know. But honestly, you know what this is exactly like? Any competitive athlete that's on a team and you bleed it, and if you've competed at a high level, that's what it is.
For sure.
What are your goals? Are you in it? Are you committed as much as I am? Or in this mix, you either hang and you can fit or you get out.
For
and
sure.
like there's no gray area. And that's exactly what this credit scores and bank statements, and using case and other intangibles. But like, I mean, that's kind of what sports really does prepare you for, because if you're in it and you bleed it, you're not fucking around.
No.
And like if you've never competed at a high level, you might not know.
Right.
But if you have, you know.
Yeah. And you're on the same page as your teammates, the other ones who are bleeding it. And I feel like, again, that was something that we were I pitched this and she was like, yes.
Yeah.
And like immediately it became a passion project for both of us. And obviously it's more than that too. But like we are both so passionate about this that even like, don't get me wrong, there have been bumps in the road and there have been hard days and hard weeks. But like at the end of but at the end of the day, like we sit down, we have a conversation and we remember what we're doing this for. And we always can figure out how to come to a resolution of whatever it is.
there you go.
Yeah.
I think our favorite word's pivot.
Pivot.
Yeah.
Just like everybody. Like,
Yeah, but like that's what
friends.
Yeah, friends really did
Best
that.
sponsor too. Come
Yeah.
on.
Let's go. I think it's great. And honestly, I mean, it's 2024. Things are evolving slowly. Two women working together, figuring it out, not having to like bash or like some of this narrative that we still hear that's antiquated.
Sure.
And I think that's like women's sports and Title IX. Like we'll unpack that. And simply two business women figuring it out, finding a balanced way to communicate, work towards a goal, execute, and then even have a larger vision from the next step, and then managing life in the in-between.
Definitely.
Every parent needs to hear that. Every coach needs to hear that. Like, it's a lot, but you're doing it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
all the shit you don't get gold stars for, you're actually getting gold stars for. We'll get all the money and everything. It's all going to come. Everything else. But the in-between right now, and I think that's on you guys to be like, we're doing it. Like, take a moment to like really take it in. Are you guys good about that?
Yes.
We try to.
Hey, okay.
Yeah,
I think so.
That's huge.
I feel like there was a time early on that we were like, we just want to be open, and we had a friend who was kind of like, whoa, chill, like, look around you guys, look how far you look, remember what the space looked like, look where what it looks like right now, and like just imagine what it's going to look like. And so like I feel like there are days that we have to sit back and be like, okay, yes, we're doing it. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, just watch the videos. I mean, on all of our Instagram, it's like the things that we've done, the things I know that she's like wrecked her body doing. Like we have different skill sets, and I'm okay with that. Like I'm very good at learning Annie's process, so I'm very good at like getting her the next thing that she needs when she's doing something.
The next tool, the next screw.
Lead with the assist. Like,
yeah,
do what you
exactly.
gotta do.
Yes,
Yeah.
and also getting into really awkward positions
For
for
sure.
another, where I'm like holding something, bracing it together while she's like nailing it in, and I just can't help but laugh because why isn't somebody watching us?
Yeah,
right
or
now?
I'm told you need to be videoing like I ever hear Brandon shout out.
We need some flies on the wall or something. But
Who let us do this? That's another question I have all the time.
That's the magic piece. No one.
We
That's
ask-
the best piece.
we ask ourselves that all the time. Like, what? Like, yeah, who gave us the keys? Like,
They literally did it. You literally had to steal bars through and build. Like, that is the realest thing.
Yeah.
And like also the best part.
oh,
like,
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so cool.
That it's wild. I mean, if you really look at the greats, Simone Biles coming off of Olympics. Yes, I'm comparing. Like, drink that in. You know, I mean, literally coming off the Olympics. You know, advocating for mental health, XYZ. But if you see the greats, any name a big athlete you can, or even like parents or grandparents or anyone that's gone through a journey that's not gotten the public eye. The true greats have overcome massive adversity. And they're great not because of their accomplishments. They're great because they stayed in it. And no one sees all that, you know, those dark, hard days. And it's so cliche because you can watch any sports documentary and know. But even then, you're just watching it. It's so different when you're in it and you don't talk about the idea and whatever and bleed about it and say, if coach would have put me in. You're out there, you're building it, you're doing it. And it's a total different sense of purpose and accomplishment. And it's still hard every single time. Those days are really, really hard. Really hard.
Yeah.
You can't be great without those.
Right.
You really can't.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think we both learn and we grow from those experiences too. And I think we both give ourselves different days to be upset about something. And it's kind of like the whole relationship, like the 80-20 thing. Like now it's my turn to not be emotional for the day so that she can feel what we're feeling, and then we'll swap the next day. And it's unspoken stuff that we've both just gotten really good at recognizing from spending so much time together. I mean, yeah, we do. We spend a lot of time. Yeah.
Like, who's more upset about this one?
Pass the
All right,
ball.
you got it.
Yeah, I'm terrified to tell Annie, like when something comes through and I'm the only person on the phone. I'm like, I just don't,
I have to tell.
don't want to do it again. I just don't want. So I wait a second.
bad
And
news.
I'm like, are you sitting down?
Yeah, right.
Can I ask what your surroundings are like right now?
Where are you?
We got an email. Today was a rough day, as we kind of mentioned. But when the email came through, Miranda said, "I hope you haven't seen the email yet." That's all she texted me, and I was like, "Oh, I did." But yeah, just knowing when the other's going to be upset and having each other back in the process, and you know,
We both get upset about different things, I think, too.
more
And-
passionately.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm the big voice, but then I'm like, oh, you don't want to talk to Annie. Hey.
Which is so funny, and that's such another thing about being in a women-owned business. And I've explained this to Miranda. Like, again, she hasn't known me for like too terribly long, and like if you were to ask any of my family and my close friends, they'd be like, oh no, Annie's just a people pleaser, such a kind human. And we started this and Miranda's like, oh no, she isn't.
I know that's right. Because when it comes down to business,
grabs the phone out of my hand.
We started this process and very quickly realized that like, especially men are going to walk all over you, and like they're going to take advantage of you because you don't know what you're talking about. So very quickly, you know, we had to realize that like we have to stand up for ourselves. We have to advocate for ourselves. We have to be that big voice because nobody else is doing it for us. Like, we do have the keys.
Yes.
We are building the bar. We are building the space. So like somebody's got to do it. And you know,
Yeah,
okay.
I've read so many things just to basically prove the city wrong in so many different ways and find like exceptions to different things. And it's you just don't know what you don't know.
For sure.
And I think we just trusted people early on, and it came back. And now it's like we're very careful and cautious now, but in a way that's also a good way too.
Yeah.
Like we should be like we should not just take the first opinion that we get either. Just like somebody coming here should not take our first opinion for something either. And so we've learned a lot, I think, in the process. Yeah.
And we know a lot more than when we started.
Oh my gosh.
Totally.
And like, and that's the cool thing and the powerful thing about this too, is like, now we know a lot of things, and like, so now don't come at us. Like, don't don't test us.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
Don't come at us.
I mean, I think that was always the way, but now you have proof to be
Yeah.
no,
Like,
we've
that's
actually
how
read that book.
Yeah.
We've done that thing.
Yeah.
You ran that lab.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It just took some time to get our confidence, I think, and our voices in that.
Yep.
But now that we have it, we'll sit on it and then we'll come back and we'll be combative. It's just like with today when we heard the news, like we sat on it, we waited, and we made a game
okay,
plan.
what's the solution? Rather than just getting upset and being really upset. Like you said you watched the whole process of it, of like how split that flow. Yeah.
Like,
And then we were upset, you're mad, we're getting frustrated, and then we're like, okay, no, wait, let's find a solution. Like, what can we do? Is there anything else we can do? Is there anything we haven't thought of? And
And I think that's what we've gotten good at in this process is, even on the phone before Annie got here, I was like, okay, so this is not something we can solve right now, but let's figure out how we, like, what's tangible in this. Yeah. And versus at the beginning of this, it was, I mean, every other day was like, well, like we were just like, I don't think we could do this anymore. And I mean, we said that so many times, but I think in the grand scheme of things, I think actually feeling that has been maybe one time, if that, because we have just overcoming adversity and just pushing forward and
onward.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, resilience. I mean, if you look like I mean, I'm gonna give all the sports cliches, not even because it's this, but just because that's how I roll. Yeah. We bleed it. You know, if you look at a schedule and it's really hard and you're in a competitive situation, every game is different. You can be the best. You can overlook a good team or an easy team or blah, blah, blah. But like, you've got to just keep showing up in that point of resilience and then coming back to the plan and readjusting. And I love, you know, people are like, where do you see yourself in 10 years? And all of a sudden I'm just like, oh God, please stop telling that to our young humans, because shit is changing all the time. This fast technology, human cultures, I mean, we're about to have a big election. Like, stuff's constantly changing, pivoting or being able to adjust or evolve. Like, you got to just be able to roll with it. And this is why I'm an advocate for sports, because you learn that, again, young, and you get knocked down. I was competing at the CrossFit Games and taken off teams or like failed in front of thousands, and I'm 35. Like, I'm a grown-ass adult, like learning this. So I think it's hard, but also like, you're not doing something worthwhile. This is going to be a sports person talking. If it's not kicking you in the ass, like if you're not doing something that's like, if you're seeking purpose and impact, or I mean, just something to like truly make your competitive heart fly, you better be prepared to fall, because otherwise you're not really competing. If not, like, you're not really out there.
I definitely think athletics has for sure 100%.
Absolutely.
I think that like determination and that discipline that you get as an athlete,
Absolutely.
and when you get faced with adversity too, it's how you respond to it that defines your entire character.
I was listening to a podcast today, actually, and somebody on the podcast was talking about like a quote that they love. I can't remember where they got it, but it was like, if you're gonna fail forward.
Oh yeah.
So like, if you're gonna fail, which we do all the time, you're going to all the time. Otherwise, you're not growing. But like, make sure it's in a positive direction. Make sure you're learning something from it. Because if you're not, and I think we learn that from sports. Like, that happens all the time. Yeah, you're gonna get kicked on your ass. Now, what are you going to do about it?
Right. Well, you
What's
can
the next
sit safe in the corporate world with insurance and all this. And I get, you got kids and responsibility. I'm here for it. But honestly, don't do that. I'm just kidding. But if not, you got to be out there like living, because then complacency is a mental health problem.
Yeah.
So you either have like physical health problems and whatever else, or like a
Absolutely.
mental health problem. You're not actually serving your purpose.
Absolutely.
And that impacts not only you, but like all the people you could impact with what you are good at or what you care about.
And we talk about that too. We have so many dreams and goals, and like, we're thankful for each other. And like, this isn't it for us. This isn't the end. We want to do more.
This is the
and so,
beginning.
for
It's
sure.
just the
Look
beginning.
alive.
Which is so exciting. And again, I think, I feel like that drive definitely came from competitive sports. Like, I'm with you. I give so much credit to competitive athletics. Like, I am who I am today because of that. But yeah, I think that's a big thing, and it's exciting. Like, I would not be opening this bar if it weren't for playing competitive apps.
Do you real question, do you think it's a little bit of like a chip on your shoulder, like something to prove? Like, I think being one of four, I was the oldest girl or oldest child and the only girl, and it's kind of like, you can't do this. Like, I remember grandfather being like, women don't play professional sports. And like, I remember my 8-year-old self, like, that physical internal fire, I can still feel it and being like, okay, like,
Yeah.
Okay, like it's still like I'm almost glad it's there because it's never not there.
For sure.
But do you feel like that's part of your conversation, your journey, whatever?
I don't know how it couldn't be.
Yeah.
I think that not only like the children version of us being like, we wish we had a space like this when we were that age, but also the adult as you go through school and you go through school and you become adult, like all that adversity that you face where people tell you that you can't do this. Even when our first news article went up and people were trolling us on, I have never experienced internet trolling, and it was, I mean, it's people are ruthless and mean, but at the same time I'm like, oh, okay, I cannot wait to prove you wrong when we're open longer than 2 weeks. Like, thank you so much for thinking that was going to be the duration of our opening. But, and then like the community behind it is also something I think that's a huge motivating factor as well. Like it is, her and I say this all the time to one another, it is so much bigger than us. Oh, like it is so much bigger. We're just lucky enough to be the two people that get to sit behind the bar and pour beers.
Well, I mean, yes, and I'm here. I appreciate your humility. You got to choose it. You got to be the one that wants to be the voice in the face and the body that has to be in it and like show up and build and do and then take in the social media. I mean, that's, I mean, physically strong, intellectual, brain smart. But I mean, you really got to just pick to choose it every single day. Like, you got to be all the things.
And that's true. We have, in this process, since we started this, we joked when we were looking for a space that it was a race against the clock. Like, women's sports is blowing up right now. We knew that other people in the city of Denver, Colorado had this idea. Like, it wasn't just us. So we were always saying that. And since we've started doing pop-ups and stuff, there have been a lot of people who've come up to us and said that, like, oh, we had this idea too. So I think you're right. Like, we were the
nobody wanted to do it.
Yeah, who were brave enough to take the lead.
Yeah.
But also at the end of the day, like, I feel like we are very much like, but it's not about us. Like, we didn't do it for us selfishly.
For sure.
I think there's a part of us who did it for our younger selves.
Absolutely.
But we also did it for the community. Like, people need this.
Yeah.
The younger versions of ourselves needed this.
And
adults our age, for sure.
Even the adults our age.
Even the generation above us, it's been so cool to see.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the coolest things of this process is seeing some people from that generation who had even less resources and access to women's sports as we did.
Absolutely.
And now are getting a safe space to like feel this and be accepted and get excited about it. Which is so cool.
They're the reason. They did pave the way in some degree.
Yeah.
And there's all these stories coming out now about like the underground bars that they would meet at and stuff. The women athletes.
Yeah.
It's just such a cool experience to like be a part of that. At our very first pop-up, the first individuals that arrived were those of the older generation, and it was like, this is so cool. Like this is so cool to see 21 to whatever that age scale was, and it just also shows that there is no age to this either. It's accepted in all capacities, and it is for everybody. And so I think that's been really rewarding for the two of us as well. Yeah,
definitely.
Well, it's just so, I mean, I love the through line of sports. We talked about earlier, from anywhere, do anything. It's such an equalizer. No one cares what you do, who you do, why you're doing it. Like, can you play? Are you here to play? Are you here to compete? Do you want to have fun? Wherever the competitive level is, it's like, it's such an equalizer. And for people that aren't as open or as progressive or whatever, I love it when that happens. Like, I see this all the time in CrossFit. It's an equalizer, and it opens the door, and it starts with a casual conversation, and then it goes to a larger conversation, and then you're friends with someone you would never otherwise be friends with.
Oh, for sure.
And you have different views of the world, but similar core values, and like shit that actually matters versus who did you vote for or whatever else. Like, sports are so that, and then you see like generations come together, and you present this path of like this passion that we all kind of had as just athletes.
For sure.
And now it's this larger thing. So and it's really cool. And again, it's still like you choosing the hard thing.
Yeah.
Tell me specifically like about the community. You're on Colfax. You're intentional about where you are. And I'm in Colorado again, born and raised. We're here for Colfax. Colfax is a wild ride.
We are.
I love New York City, so I'm here for like all the things.
We're here for Colfax.
Yeah, you're here for Colfax. But tell me about like the community specifically that you're working with, why you chose this place, like why was this your spot?
I think Annie can answer. I honestly, this was the last place we looked at, and I was more unfamiliar with Denver than Annie is. I lived not down in the city, so I was like, sure, let's go look at it. But she can probably give a better explanation.
Yeah, so it's that's actually kind of a funny story too. Again, being two women in this has been extremely challenging. It's come with so many different sets of challenges. One of those was finding a space. It was really hard to get people to trust us and believe in us to be able to open this and make it successful. So I actually kind of was like, our real estate agent was fantastic. We love her. She was so great. She was such a saint. And we wouldn't be here without her.
No.
We truly wouldn't.
Shout out to her.
Yeah. But it was days before we came to look at this space, and I came to talk to Miranda and was like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I do not want to be a part of this. I'm exhausted. I'm sick of being told no. Like, I've been told no over and over and over. And like, it's just disheartening. And like, maybe some other time, or maybe we can do something else. But like,
She said I can do it by myself.
oh, I did tell you. I was
that's
like,
right.
And I was like, I was like, Annie, I love
her
that.
out.
I was like, I love that for you, but like, this doesn't exist without us.
yeah.
And so
Anyway, so our real estate agent gave us like another list, and Miranda's like, do you want to look at any of those? This was one of those spaces. And I was like, and I love Colfax. I love this neighborhood. And I was like, I'm intrigued by this one spot just because of where it's located. And she's like, okay, let's go look at it. And of course, then we look, check it out. And, you know, it always seems promising, but we walked out of the door into our real estate agent. I was like, is this actually realistic, or am I going to get my hopes up and just like be like super upset again? Like, should I be in this, or should I jump out? And she's like, stick with it. You got this. She's also about women empowerment. So she's like,
Yes.
You guys got this. Like, no, this is your space. And of course it panned out when we signed a lease like 4 days later. But
it was insane.
but anyway,
6 days, yeah.
so it was just a wild turn of events. But I do think that a big part of why like we stayed in this and are opening this is because of the location. I don't know. Colfax is an interesting place, especially for Colorado.
It's crazy,
Colorado.
but I mean, that's what you want. Like,
Exactly.
you guys
Yes.
see what it is.
For
So
sure.
we were laughing about they're picky about permits. I'm like, what? We're on Colfax.
Yeah,
Are you
we're on
serious?
Come on,
I have
like,
duct
the
tape
things
right
you-
here. Like,
Yeah.
It's
exactly.
a wild time.
Yes. Yes, but it's also, I don't know. I feel like this is definitely a community that's trying to, like, Colfax has been growing and building, and they're trying to make it better, and they're trying to bring in more businesses,
Yeah.
and they're trying to bring more livelihood to it. I think that's a big part of it for me. I also think that obviously we are not coming out to the press or the news and being like, we're a gay bar. But obviously I think that like we are both a part of the LGBTQ plus community. A lot of the people who have gotten behind us and are supportive of this project are also a part of that community. And obviously this strip of Colfax is very heavily populated by that community. And so surrounding yourself with people who are going to get behind you and support you and you know, give you a sense of community, I think has helped.
Also safety too. I think safety,
sure.
like security in that
Yeah.
sense as well.
Yeah. Like
And I think that's a big thing too as well, is just having the safety of the community around you as well.
Yeah.
Like each direction that we go, even across the street, obviously.
we've met a lot of the business owners around here, and like we all have each other's backs. Like we're all like supportive of each other. We want to grow each other's businesses. We want to do everything we can to make Colfax, you know, keep it rolling. Let's keep it rolling.
For real.
Yeah.
I mean, it's rolling away, but we gotta keep it raining a little. And actually, no. I mean, yeah, I love New York City. I'm a Colorado kid. People are like, "Are you from the East Coast?" They talk fast and have bleached hair and whatever. But like Staten Island, I'm like Denver, Colorado. They're like, "Oh, okay, sure." I'm like, pretty sure. Anyways, I think it's huge, and it's the energy, the vibrancy. You do see it all. Like, I mean, if nothing else, you're not gonna be bored. And
Right.
like, you're
Totally.
you're in
Every
the
day.
It starts at 6 a.m. We don't get bored.
Every day.
Yeah.
We had somebody singing at us at 6 a.m. one morning. It was
okay.
fantastic.
The
So
sun
it's like, have a beautiful day.
Sun was rising. He's singing across.
We were
Singing across.
I'm there for it.
yeah,
Okay,
we were too.
Yeah.
Here we
I
are.
was driving up, and at the stoplight, someone was holding a dollar bill over his chest, just rolling through mid traffic. I'm like, hey,
It happens all the time.
yeah. Well, I want to get specific about this because as an entrepreneur, I know it's one thing when you have funding or, you know, mom and dad are helping you. And I'm not mad about nepotism, and it's in our government. It's in a multitude of powerful places. And if I had a kid and money at some point, I might help them out. But I want to be very intentional about this part of the conversation because I think it's so different when you bleed it, when it's your investment, when it's your name, when it's your background. However much you guys want to get into this, feel free or not feel free, but I really think it's important for the audience and everyone to know, like, you're not just committed contractually between each other to the city, whatever, but like, this is all on you,
Yeah.
like 1,000%. And that is the level of commitment as an entrepreneur, as a fellow athlete. I think that speaks volumes.
I think that's a great topic. So Annie and I did apply for small business loans, and we did not get approved because we do not have any type of collateral. So we don't own a house. We have our financed cars is basically what we have. So we had to go the route of personal loans. So the two of us pulled out, I don't know, $80,000 each of personal loans.
a lot of money.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I brought cash.
Scary amount of
Yeah.
money. And then, yeah.
I brought cash in as well. And at the beginning, it was, we won't touch that unless we have to. We've touched it.
Famous last words,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I think we knew. I think deep down we knew. We just didn't want to admit it. You know, we're like, we're gonna do this right. We're gonna save it. Annie's gonna build shit, so like we're gonna be good. We're gonna save all this money, which we did.
We did, but yeah. And I mean, in a perfect world, I wish that we did have, you know, family members that were just like, here, go have fun type of thing. But that didn't happen with us. Even though both of our families are extremely supportive of what we're doing, it's just, it's not in the cards.
Yeah.
But with that being said as well, this all financially falls on the two of us. And it's very, very scary when those personal loans come due each month. And, but I think that's also like what's driving us as well. Like that's a huge driving factor. And one thing that both of us decided very, very early on in this process is we're not doing investors. And it's not just because of, like, yes, of course, they're going to bring a monetary value, but we are so passionate about the project that we're doing. And it comes, like, we are being so intentional about the space from what we're doing, like, with memorabilia and how we're laying things out. And I think that the two of us always ask, when she's building something, can you come sit on this? Can you see how this, like, we're being just so intentional about the space. And I think that is exactly why, like, we just maybe in another location down the road, but at least for this, like, this is our blood, sweat, and tears, literally.
Investors bring an idea, their own ideas.
Yes.
And this is our baby. We are
literally birthday baby.
Yeah. And we want this one to be just us. Like we care way too much about it. And so
Even now, even after today, like, there's, you know, people are going to give their opinions of what maybe should get. No, we're not there. That to me is, I think that's like the athlete coming out in us is like, no, we're just going to pivot. Yeah. As my football coach used to make me do, watch more film. Like, we're going to figure it out.
Again.
We always figure it out.
Yep. We always do. And we're going to, like, adversity is going to come. It's going to come no matter what you do in your life.
Not going to win every game.
Nope, you are not. And so it's, what are you going to do with it? How are you going to learn from it? What are your next steps? How can you work together as a team to figure this out? And I think that's what we're doing constantly. And like
all the time.
Yeah. And I feel like, I think that's something else we say to each other. If like one of us is having a bad day, it's like, everything's figure outable. We'll figure it out. There's always a way. Like, we will get through this too, you know?
Because once those doors are open, there's going to be a whole nother level of adversity the two of us are going to face. So
not our problem right now.
I say one day at a time. One day at a time. I mean, I think when you, like in the very beginning, when you're so clear on your pillars and not even really having it defined, but so intentional about we're in this, we're doing this. I think even, you know, people on business plans and all this stuff, if you just have that and you're so clear on what you're doing, I think it's so hard to fail or let go or what have you, especially when you complete it. I mean, it's really nice to have family funds in this. I certainly didn't experience that. And support, yes, and whatnot. But man, the success of coming in knowing you did this 1,000% you, that is fucking awesome. There's no sense of greatness, I think, larger than that. I mean, that deep sense of pride. And I wish our young people could hear, like, for all the parents that are stepping in helicopter, I want to be like, just let them fail. Like, for sure. Just let it happen so they can feel that. And then it grows into this. So like all the things of like, and no money, no success, nothing can allow yourself to feel that versus you going through that adversity and then like taking a second and watching something live and breathe on its own that you created.
For sure.
Like, there's nothing like that.
For sure.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
And I feel that even though we're not even open yet, like we step in here and we do talk about how we got, even though like today, we had a bad day today. And the moment I stepped in here, I was like, yeah, okay, everything's fine. Everything's going to be okay. Like the way this place looks compared to what it did when we got keys and stepped in here, like it is a different space. And you know, now we're just...
Yeah. I also feel like it just has a different feel to it, too. It's the worst of days, even in this space. I think we both walk away saying that we love this space.
For sure.
And we are just... I think we're both just so excited to share it with people, too.
Yeah.
And it's like, we get to watch sports in here when we work.
Yeah.
And we're stoked. We're excited.
We want to share that with our community.
Yeah.
And with everybody, you know? But we wouldn't be here without the failure. Like, to go back to that point. Like, for sure. Like, you know, we had to keep grinding, we had to keep moving, we had to keep pivoting, and it wouldn't look like this. We wouldn't be opening, you know, had we stopped at the first failure.
That would have been a long time ago.
I was going to say.
That would have been like day 2.
Yeah, like we would have never even gotten close. Like, I don't know. So
it's wild. Well, I mean, it's cliche, but it kind of all comes back to love. I'm very much like athletic, business, and then personal relationships a bit over here. We'll figure it out as we get older. But like, truthfully, like if you really love and bleed something, Like that is like step one. And when you like hold that energy as a marketing professional, blah, 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 I can teach you to do all these things. But like, man, when you bleed it, you already have the magic. And then that puts the energy out. Like the vibe attracts the tribe. Like that is kind of what you need. And you can't really teach or explain it to you there. It's not. No. So if you already feel it, it'll come in.
Definitely.
I think that's why it's so tough for us to bring other people into the project as well. Is like,
we are in love with this. Like I am in love with this.
I'm serious.
Place.
Yeah, absolutely.
And giving your heart, a little piece of your heart up to somebody else that you don't really know or don't really trust. Like that's terrifying.
See it.
Yeah.
Six strong. I have a million more questions, but we'll let you guys rock. I'm so excited for this. I absolutely adore that it's in Denver, Colorado. I'm not too far away. I got to give them some of my old CrossFit jerseys. If that ends up in the back of the bathroom, I'm not even mad about it.
No.
You still have to sign it. You get it to us.
Oh, yeah, I did sign it. Yeah, well, it's funny. I literally had it in a drawer in my basement. I'm like, my God, this is wanted. All right, let's go. Anyways, it's a whole thing, but it's wild. It's so funny, again, how you can try and plan things, whatever. And here I'm at 43 talking to two humans that are building this women's sports. Like, if my 17-year-old self could understand that this would be a conversation, my mind's blown right now. Back then, like, I would have been like, no. Like, it's wild. Yeah. It's wild. So what a magical time to be in pursuit of something so great. All right. Well, where do we find you guys? Colfax we already just branded Colfax. Give us social handles. Anything you want to share.
Come on, show up.
All of our things are
pretty much
the 99er Sports
the 99er Sports Bar at the 90s.
Yep.
99er Sports Bar. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook.
Just recently TikTok. We just
started TikTok. We
got in there.
Yeah, over 18. Let's go.
We're millennials.
Not over 18 and weird. I'm just saying, no, everybody under 18 knows how to do it. We're over past 18, so we don't know TikTok.
We're definitely millennials. So any tips, email them our way, Instagram our way.
Yeah, because I am like, I don't understand this thing. Yeah. I barely understand the reels on Instagram still.
You'll get an intern soon. You'll be fine. Really good. I almost forgot to ask, but like, what is success to you both? Personally, professionally, whatever.
Oh, that's a broad question.
It is.
Yeah, because I think it can just be measured in so many different ways. I think personally for me, it's kind of like the journey in between. Of course, you're going to go finish to end, and when you get to the end, it's successful, but everything that you learn in between that is my measurement of success. It's all these little tiny things that Annie and I have learned over the course of, what has it been, 6 months, 7 months now? Mm-hmm. Like, we're going to take that, and we're not only going to put it into another space potentially, but anyone that comes out and asks us, like, we want to be advocates for other women that are starting businesses and things like that. And that is success to me. It's like that feeling of one thing's checked off. What did I learn? And what can I do next with that?
Yeah. I think for me, and something we talk about all the time, is like creating something that's bigger than myself. Like, I am just this tiny blip on this earth. Like, who knows how big, like what else is out there? No clue. But I know that I want to create something that other people can have a community, feel safe and comfortable to be in a space created for them. It's not about us. It's about everybody. It's and so I think, time is short. So when my time's up, I hope that this lives on and, or this idea lives on for other people. So
that's awesome. It's kind of wild. I mean, if you both competitive athletes, when you get to the championship, you win or lose or whatever, and the next day you're like, all right, let's go practice. Like, what do you do?
What do you do next?
What's next? So, like, the gold medal is really like the whole time leading up to that, and the championship game we went to. It's all the in between. So I agree with both of you. It's like all the in between, and then chasing the big prize is so much bigger than the medal and everything else.
For sure.
So it's
for
wild.
Sure. Yeah,
it's wild. Well, I can't wait. Maybe in a year or so, you guys have like 10 franchises or something. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I'm just excited to see you pour your first beer officially, not these ones. But it's big things, and I mean, I'm proud of you. I hate to sound like your mom or your aunt or something, but it is. It's so big, but dude, it's just so fucking cool.
Thank you. You've been so supportive from the beginning. I feel like you're at every pop up.
We're out here. I'll fangirl all day long. Like,
honestly,
absolutely.
I think the both of us will take, like, we are proud of you every single day at any point of that day, because there are definitely some days we're looking at each other just like, what are we doing? Like, are we okay? And just hearing things like that, and just, again, when we talk about the pop-up and like that, all of the different generations, the older generation is, I think, what speaks to us more than anything else. And it's just like, for them to thank us for what we're doing, like that right there is enough to just continue to propel us forward through all these crappy days.
And you're not that much older than us, but you're old enough that, like, I mean, women's sports has changed so much
Oh my
so fast.
gosh,
So
yeah.
you lived a much different
Mhm.
time period than we
Yes.
did growing up. And so to hear a thank you from you it means the world. It's huge. So
Oh yeah. Well,
Thank
it's
you.
an excuse for me to still be an athlete. I don't care if I'm like washed up at the bar yelling at someone to shoot a whatever shot of sport I didn't play. But I mean, it's just so and mostly because of our young humans. Like sports was just such a huge everything to me. And now thank God CrossFit stayed around so I could be a 40-year-old
Right.
CrossFitter or whatever. But it was just such something I'm so thankful that I've had throughout. And to know that that continues even further, younger generations and older, and there's even more opportunity. Like, I mean, it's just a magical thing. It really is.
thank you for paving the way for us to be here.
Well, I mean, you're welcome. CrossFit's so huge. 99ers, there's a few around me. I'll take credit. I've received, and it takes a village. So
It does.
for all of our humans, and even like on the political side, the voice side, like
Yeah, absolutely.
there's so many angles to it. But what a time that the world's popping off where it is. Y'all have the heart and energy for it, and like here we are. So it's pretty wild.
Love it.
Well, I appreciate your guys' time and energy. Like I said, I can't wait to reconnect, and no matter what, stay in it. I know I don't have to tell you that, but like we're all out here rooting for you guys. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, it will be.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Perfect segue. I'll give a shout out to Lux Neuro because if you ever need neurofeedback, which I'm on session like 25. No, it's the best stuff ever. Not even because like they're sponsored. It's one of my like favorite humans.
Yeah.
But mental health, it's real.
Yes.
We'll give them the shout out. Neurofeedback effectively treats everything from insomnia, anxiety, depression, trauma, ADHD, and much more. Optimize your brain. I gotta thank Lux Neuro, Neurofeedback and Counseling. If you're ready, reach out to them. They can transform your life. luxneuro.com. Let's go. Please like and subscribe wherever you get your podcast. TNT is everywhere. We're on YouTube if you want to watch the video. And please come to this bar soon. Check out these Varsity Humans. Passion and purpose. Cheers.
Thank you for joining Turmeric and Tequila with your host, Kristen Olson. Tune in next time, and don't forget to subscribe on Apple, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen.